Hey guys, welcome back to Release the Craftin. Priscilla here with the first 2 weeks of the poetry challenge to share with you guys. I know it's a little bit late, running a little bit behind. The problem was that I did not know how I wanted to present my poetry to you guys this year, because I kind of got super burned out last year trying to like make a craft every day and keep up with all that. So I tried to think of like a way that would be easier, but then like also nice to look at, that I could present my poetry to you guys, like what format I could use. And I didn't decide until about mid-month how I wanted to do it. So, you know, a day late and a dollar short, here I am with weeks 1 to 2 definitely, and probably part of 3, days 1 to 14. I decided I was going to make this jumbo size, like so big it doesn't fit into my frame here, these pages, these layouts, and then I was going to bind them together in like a ring bound book or like a tied up book. I haven't decided, but I'm definitely going to bind it over here on the side. When I decide, you guys will be the first to know for sure. I also considered turning it into like a little album that might be easier to flip through than a ring bound. So I'm still working on my decision making process here. I have not been the most decisive this month, let's say. But I came to you in the middle of doing this to do this video because I decided to do my poetry with a theme. That was what I left last year thinking, wouldn't it be nice if this had like a theme that sort of tied everything in together? And as you guys will see, the theme for my poems this month, or this year, more appropriately, is Greek mythology. So I decided to do an entire series of poems around Greek mythology. So some of the poems are going to be words are really hard, directly related to the myths themselves. Some are going to be a bit more abstract and personal. Some are just going to take little bits and pieces here. And I thought about the best way to present these to you would be to read the poem first, and then you guys can maybe kind of guess who the poem is about, and then I'll give like a little blurb after the poem to tell you a little bit more about the myths. I think like I'm kind of leaning towards doing a more long form like mythology story share to go over crafting videos, because you guys have asked, and I definitely have heard you guys wanting to see more process videos and stuff like that, and I never know what to say because like craft with me's are very uninteresting, because I'm usually like listening to a podcast or watching a TV show while crafting, and without that it's just this weird echo sound chamber, and I don't really like those kind of videos for myself. So it's easier to do like a craft with me, but then I like tell you a story or something on top of that. I think that'll be a better way to go. So I think I'm gonna do Greek myths as a story topic. So if there's a myth you are curious about and you want to hear, definitely let me know. And then as we go through these poems, if there is a story that you are more interested in hearing like the full details on, a little deep dive into, let me know that as well, because I absolutely love stories of all kinds, not just mythology, but folklore, movies, stories, creepypastas, all those things, and I want to share that with you guys because I just think that's a fun thing to share. So if there is a story specifically about Greek mythology you want to hear, let me know. If there is a story about anything, I want to know so I can let you guys know. So let me know for sure in the comments below. And then, like I said, I'm gonna read the poem first and then tell you a little bit about it. Some of these are going to be obvious, some of them not so obvious maybe. Some of them are just direct, like about the person, so it's going to be pretty obvious who the poem is about, so there won't be like a guessing aspect there, but I think it'll be kind of fun and a way to like add some interest to these videos. My camera stand is broken, so if anyone has any idea how to make it stop tilting, let me know, because I can't figure it out. But we're just gonna have to accept that all of my videos are going to be slightly askew with me constantly correcting them, because that's a fun thing we're doing now. So I've talked enough. This is already going to be a pretty long video because, like I said, it's 14 days. If I could go back in time, I would have planned this better, because it's definitely a lot to put into one space, but I don't want to break it up because there's already a lot of editing involved in this video. So we get what we get. Bring a couple snacks. I'm going to say 3 snacks. Three solid snacks and a good drink. And let's get into it. Have some fun with poetry. Don't forget to check out the hashtag RTCPoetry22. It is not too late to enter. You only have to do 5 poems to qualify for the prize. And you could do this all year if you wanted to. If you don't want to enter the giveaway, but want to make some poetry, don't feel pressured to condense it all into 1 month. Take the prompts, make them all year. I still want to see what you guys do. So yeah, poetry. Also, just a quickie little addition. There's a content warning. This challenge was not geared towards children. These poems aren't geared towards children. So definitely do not invite your children here. Because some of the subject matter might be pretty rough. And also for those of you who may have experienced particular types of trauma and violence, this might be rough to listen to. This is your warning. I just wanted to leave this here, so nobody was surprised, because I went over some heavy themes this month. But yeah, that's it. Poetry! I was hurt once. Hurt so deeply, so completely, that I came undone. A fountain of tears pooling at my feet, candlelight reflecting the wrecked visage of my face. "You're so beautiful," he said, as he took what he liked. Crimson blood down my thighs, mixing with the mirror of tears. What beauty was there? I only saw a monster. The goddess heard me. She appeared through teary mist, handsome and powerful, her mighty presence full of anger, and I stood trembling before her, eyes fixed on my soaked feet. She spoke only 3 words to me. "For your protection." Then the pressure of her radiance departed, and carmine reflected, swirling with the water, a hissing softly in my ear. My hair alive, my eyes a glowing amber, my teeth and claws sharper than any sword. Footfalls, as they rushed to my aid, stopping dead as they looked into my eyes. A garden of stunned stone men. I knew then the gift I had been given. I was now truly beautiful. Okay, so that was day 1. The prompt I chose for that day was pick a deity. And I didn't necessarily pick a deity so much as I picked a mythological figure who's currently being worshipped as a deity. And that was Medusa, if you guys hadn't figured out. And this was about her assault in the Temple of Athena. I think it's really interesting because the modern retelling of the story for Medusa is one that's sort of female empowerment. So I kind of lean towards that as sort of a righteous anger, reclaiming power sort of theme with my poem. And it's kind of a theme that really resonates and I can relate to and sort of look to for guidance. And so I just really found that was, like the inspiration for this poem. I think it's really interesting. There's a lot of talk about Medusa as a protector deity and how her face, the Gorgonalia, is like inscribed into stone walls as a sign of protection. That's actually been debunked. It's not factually correct. But as a modern symbol for protection, I think Medusa is a pretty powerful one. And I thought that this was sort of a good match for the theme and the story I wanted to go with for this one. But let me know what you guys thought. Did you know it was Medusa? I feel like the page for this one was pretty obvious that it was Medusa because it's got like a snake motif. But it was fun to make, and I really am happy with how this poem came out. Also, I'm doing my prompts in random orders, but keeping them contained within the week, so hopefully it's not too confusing. Don't fly too close to the sun. Don't stray near the water. Stay the course. Walk the line. Keep to the path well traveled. Listen now and listen well. This is the only way. You should be afraid to fall. You will fall. I know you only want the best for me. I hear your voice as I ignore every warning. I've studied your lessons. I've minded your rules. But as I step out on my own, onto this precarious ledge, I spread the wings that you have built me, and with my heart pounding, I seize my joy. I have no fear of falling. Even if it's only for a moment, I will soar. Alright, so that is day 2. The prompt I chose for day 2 was freedom. and I think the page gives it away before the poem does, maybe. I don't know. You guys let me know if you're able to get this one. It was Icarus, and the story of how he flew too close to the sun and did not heed the advice of his father, who invented the wings that they used to escape their prison, and ended up falling into the sea. And I don't know, this one kind of hit me in the feels a little bit. I dug a little deep for that one. I have probably a similar experience with my own parent, and just trying to express myself and do things that I want without having someone tell me I can't every single time I try. So I think that's kind of what I brought to this one. It's not really a box. It was never a box until a clever poet named it so. It was an amphorae, and it was a wedding gift. Do not open. Who gives an unopenable gift? It was a trial in obedience, a test of my virtue. A good wife is patient. A good wife is beautiful, graceful, modest, and demure. A good wife is quiet, respectful. A good wife is kind. Above all else, a good wife is obedient. That's how they made me. A human is curious. A human yearns, a human explores, but a good wife exceeds that. The expectations, they drag at her hair, they bite at her skin. Inside, a fire grows. Curiosity is kindling. A demon on the shoulder. When I look to the other, I see only myself, the woman I long to be, unkept, unruly, wild, and unapologetically free. The amphorae glows brighter than the sun, rabid curiosity, stoking my internal fire. Who needs permission anyways? Alright, so that is day 3. The prompt I chose is permission. Were you guys able to guess? It's Pandora and Pandora's box, which really was an amphorae, which is sort of like an old Grecian urn. And if you were not aware of the origin of Pandora, she was actually created to be the perfect wife. And so I use that as my theme here, because I think that there's a lot of pressure on women to perform or act a certain way. And I feel like that was sort of reflected here in how I felt. And that, like kind of inside we're all kind of wild women longing to be free from sort of societal constraints, or at least free from ones that were put on us by others. And I think that was my main motivation when I was writing this, and it was pretty fun. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope that you are also still following along, because this is a long one and it's going to be fun to guess them. I promise the next ones are going to be harder. We're going to dig deep. But yeah, this was fun. I really enjoyed this page. It really came out sort of seamless. It was a lot of fun to make, and I got to use some stuff that I've just been sitting on and haven't used, as well as some new stuff that I have acquired. It starts with a sip of wine. Inhibitions, falling away with clothing. I forget the look of my face. Under crown of grapes he laughs, and I laugh with him. Another sip, and the laughter pitches. Is it laughter still? Or a hysterical shriek? They call us raving. They call us wild. Feral daughters snatching the girls in the dark. More wine. Sips become gulps. Pleasure joins our madness. We run and dance, whooping and hollering under stars. Liberated in a way only women can be. The cups runneth over, fingers stained in wine. Madness is settling. As dreams become waking, blood fills mouths mixing with the wine. A man in our sights, rending flesh from limb and limb from bone, regretting the attempt to fetter us. Feral sisters in wine and blood, the silence of a night disturbed. They shutter windows, yet still they hear the laughter screams of the women who riot. Okay, so the prompt for day 4 was obviously riot, if you were looking at the prompt list. Were you able to guess the mythology here? I don't. This one's kind of a deep cut. It's not a very popular tale. But if you were able to guess it, let me know, because we might need to be best friends. Because for this one I did the Maenads, and I don't know if I'm saying that right. I looked up a bunch of different pronunciations and they were all different. So Maenads, these are the things I've seen. These are, a special cult of women who worship Dionysus and were said to participate in like wine-riddled orgies, but they're also orgies that turned into like absolute like hysteria-induced madness where they would rip men apart piece for piece. So I had a lot of fun with this one. I love that trajectory for them. They're also responsible for killing Orpheus, which might be a tale I tell later on. But yeah, I thought this one was just a fun one. I had a lot of fun with it. I got to use some pretty cute little vampire stickers. Because, you know, there's also like some vampiric stuff here with the whole Bacchus, Bacchanal type of thing here that has to go with Dionysus. And I thought it was appropriate, but also just like really cute, kind of giving that like Riot Girl vibes with this little vampire. So I thought that was appropriate. But yeah, let me know if you guys got that one, because I wasn't sure how familiar everybody would be. It's supposed to be a punishment. An untouched, pristine island. You're being punished. A place untouched by men and gods. A punishment. No one but birds and fish to keep your company. Punished. I'll remain here, on my own now. Punish. In a paradise where I can finally breathe. Okay, so for day 5, I chose Isolation, and the figure I chose was Calypso. If you guys aren't aware, Calypso is the daughter of the Titan Atlas, and she sided with the Titans in the war against the Olympians. And they punished her by setting her on a deserted island all by herself for eternity, which seems excessive looking back at it. But for me, I chose Isolation as a prompt in general because of like the lingering feelings of pandemic, and I thought that this one sort of related to how I felt going through that. Where it was supposed to be a bad thing, but it was also kind of a good thing as an introvert, and that's what I tried to convey here. When I look back at my life, I see in between the memories, the hours, the days, the weeks, the years I wasted on someone who couldn't see my worth. By the will and the grace of Father Time, his scythe of stars and endless night, I carve you from my heart, and I will be damned if I ever waste just another minute on you. Okay, so this was day 6. The prompt was favorite planet, and in the sake of playing fair, I did not choose my favorite planet because apparently it's not a planet anymore. Hashtag never forget. So I chose my second favorite, my backup favorite. Not that, you know, this planet is any less. It's just hashtag never gonna be Pluto. Pluto's a planet. And I chose Saturn. And Saturn would be the Roman equivalent of the god Kronos, who was the father of Zeus, and in fact, a big chunk of the Olympians, who had a giant scythe and was considered a god of the harvest, or a titan of the harvest, but also of time, and is where we get our modern day depiction of Father Time from. So I thought I would make this one a little bit personal and sort of just take the concept of the planet and sort of how Saturn works astrologically, and that Father Time aspect, and apply that to this page. And I really love how this page came out. He shone like he wore a crown made of sun, yet my instincts all screamed, run. A shot of fear in my heart made me leap and depart. No, isn't a word you hear, so you chased while you called me my dear. Running fast, feet barely touching ground, a pursuit relentless, footfalls inbound. Pulse pounding in my ears, a voice inside whispers my fears. I call out for an assist, yet still you persist, with a final leap and a shout, transformed within and without. Laurel leaves and a swift breeze, like a sigh of relief. You no longer cause me grief. I'm finally safe from your danger. Alright, so for day 7, my prompt was danger, and I did the story of Apollo and Daphne, and essentially this story is how Apollo pisses off the true villain of Greek mythology, Eros, and ends up falling in love with Daphne and then chasing her relentlessly until she begs her father to save her, and his solution was to turn her into a laurel tree. And here we are with this one. And I would love to tell this story in more detail. I think Apollo gets kind of a bad rap for it, but I don't have time. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Oh strong man, tell me the story of how you beat the lion. With a cut from his own claws, I persisted. Oh strong man, weave me a tale of a terrible hydra. Defeated by fire and blood, I persisted. Oh strong man, how did you catch the golden hind? Goddess blessed with swift feet, I persisted. Oh strong man, how did you stop the unstoppable boar? With frost and snow, I persisted. Oh strong man, how did you conquer the stench of the stable? With arms stronger than rivers, I persisted. Oh strong man, tell me how you saved your flesh from the birds. With music and bow, I persisted. Oh strong man, of the bull that brought terror to the townsfolk? With strength of back and sweat of brow, I persisted. Oh strong man, just how did you calm the man-hungry horses? With a feast of their king, I persisted. Oh strong man, how win you the belt of the Amazon queen? With grace and a bit of charm, I persisted. Oh strong man, tell of the giant his herd of red cattle. Under the burning sun with a sword, I persisted. Oh strong man, of fabled apples of gold, what can be told? Under the weight of the world, I persisted. Oh strong man, a song of escaping the underworld with Cerberus in tow? With a promise well kept and a will made of steel, I persisted. Oh strong man, they'll sing of your feats until the end of their days. They can keep their songs, I'll hold on to my memories. For love and redemption, for 12 harrowing years, I persisted. So for day 8, the prompt I chose was persistence. And here I did Heracles and the 12 labors that he performed. And I did this in sort of a call and response style sort of narrative tale to like go over every single labor. So this is the longest poem I've written so far. And I was the first video where I had to slow things down so that I could fit the entire poem into the clip. I think I'm going to do like a full series on this because I really love the story of Heracles and this whole redemption saga. I think it'll be really fun to do. So of the stories that I'm telling so far, that is the one I have decided for sure that I'm definitely going to tell you guys later on, because there's so much to it and it's kind of a wild ride. But let me know what you guys think. This was sort of a different style of poem for this particular challenge, and I was not planning to write a long poem, but this one just came through. Old God of the forge, shaper, painter, great creator, boundless potential, perfect creations, each material a canvas, artistry forged fire. So on day 9, the prompt is paint, and were you able to guess? This one is the god Hephaestus. That's how I know how to say it. And what you guys may be familiar with is Hephaestus as his role as god of the forge, sort of the inventor of the gods and like the master blacksmith armorer, but he was also considered a god or a patron to artisans, crafters, things like that, most commonly in Greece. You'll see later on in history that Athena sort of takes up that role when they migrate her as Minerva to Rome. She becomes sort of the god of crafters, but the OG god of crafters is Hephaestus, so of course I had to include him in this, because it's sort of a role that people don't really consider, I think, when they think about Hephaestus. They only think of him as the volcano forge god, but he's a painter as well, and he had to paint his creations. Like, you couldn't just send them up there like nude without fun things on there. In a race for a spirit untamed, one by one they fall behind. Bear girl, why do you run? A race for my hand, a spirit unchained. 2 by 2 they line up to try. Akkadian princess, why do you run? A race for a moment, time unclaimed. 3 by 3 the losers die. Atalanta, huntress, why do you run? A race for a heart unchanged, a golden choice that I made. I'm ready for a love that I name. On your marks, get set, go. For day 10, the prompt was ready, and I chose Atalanta, who was in a famous foot race for her hand in marriage, and she only lost it because she was distracted by some golden apples that this dude was tossing out for her. And I mean, it all works out eventually. They fall crazy in love and have a life together, but I thought we could do it better. I was first of my mother's children, and for a time, her all. Swallowed up in the shadow by an absentee father, did she even miss her darling daughter? I flickered like a match in the dark, hoping my light would shine, if for a moment I would catch her eye. Before I fade into the background, a lost memory on no one's lips. My mother had more children, new loves that came and went. They joined me in here, forgotten in the blackness. Little projects forgotten in time. I gave up. I didn't want to catch her eye. I let the flame inside me die and drifted away in the gloom. Hello? A small, desperate voice. A harsh reminder I'm not alone here. Mother may have left us, but her mistakes are not mine. I dug through the embers, the ashes of who I was. When Mother's love was the goal, I found in the remnants a spark and seized it with my whole heart. I will be more. I must be more. More than a matchstick in the dark. I'll be a light, a flame, a beacon. I will find all who were lost, and with my torch, I will light the way. Okay, so for day 11, I did the prompt first, and I chose Hestia, goddess of the hearth, home and hearth. She's also known as the goddess of the flame. She's a torch bringer. She's one of the most important Olympians, but she's not in Olympus, so she's not technically an Olympian. She's on Earth. She gave up her seat on Olympus to Dionysus, and because of her great gift of her sacrifice, she's honored first in everything, in rituals, in prayers. You pour one out for Hestia before you pour one out for anybody else. And I just found that to be a really good parallel to the story. So I kind of went over a little bit in this poem about how Cronus swallowed up the children of Rhea, and tried to allude that to things that were in my own life. I am not a person who has siblings, but I do understand the feeling of being sort of abandoned or neglected, or put by the wayside as other things gather the attention of your parent. Look at a city sparkling gold, high in the heaven, wonders untold. Feel the furs and gathered silks, gifts of gold, honey, meat, and milk. Taste the ambrosia and nectar, a true delight, memories of mortals, their triumphs and plights. Sounds of panpipes and a golden lyre, a murmur, some laughter, a crackling fire. Smell the sweet perfumes and offering smoke, a dream of Olympus, which I evoke. So for day 12, the prompt was senses, and I just chose Olympus as a character in my poem. This one was more of an exercise in just using the, the mnemonic device, I guess, that, was beat into us as children about how you have 5 senses, and they are look, feel, taste, sound, and smell. And I wanted to follow that order and see if I could come up with something to go with that, and then I added the challenge of making it rhyme. I don't typically use a lot of rhyming in my poetry on purpose. Sometimes it's accidental, but here it was a choice. And this was just a fun one to sort of conjure up a sort of visual image, you could really be in Olympus with this poem, it would bring you to there. And I really like how it came out. I really love the imagery that's kind of evoked, and how it sort of lets your mind go if you just listen to just the poem itself. Let me know what you guys think. I loved this little format, and I really love this page, how it came out with all the layering and stuff. It adds a lot of visual interest to a poem that's supposed to strike up visual interest and help you visualize what Olympus might have looked like or felt like, and the time that you were there if you ever got lucky enough to visit. But yeah, this was a fun one. So on to the next. Watcher of heavens, leader of fate, principle of order, father of the gods, thunderer, cloud gatherer, lord of the sky, rain god, sky shaker, chief of hospitality, averter of ills, overseer of the people, of the thunder and the lightning, the first Olympian, Zeus, king of kings, I call you forth. Okay, so this one is day 13. The prompt was monarch, and it was very obviously Zeus, because I said his name in the actual poem. And this was less of a poem and more of an invocation. I think this one will make it into my Book of Shadows, because I really do enjoy it. It is just a handful, like a sampling of the actual titles that Zeus possessed. He had like hundreds, if not thousands of titles, because Zeus was worshipped differently regionally. And I know that, like, we all know of Zeus as being like the bad guy because he's a super philanderer and super unfaithful. There's a lot to actually dig into that. I'm not going to get down into all of it here because I could literally do a TED talk on like why Zeus is written the way that he is in mythology, but a lot of it has to do with like cultural locations. Whenever Zeus does cheat, it always ends up in a pregnancy that becomes relevant to a story. It has to do with like the domination of Zeus as a patriarchal god taking over matriarchal societies. And really all of this is just a long way to say that this page took longer to make than the poem took to read, because I wanted to put all of these little clouds that I cut out, so handmade paper, onto this page, and I was not going to give up on any of them. No cloud left behind. But yeah, this was a fun one, and just sort of a practical approach at poetry. From a witch's perspective, I guess it's practical because it's going in my Book of Shadows. Maybe not so practical if you aren't a witch. Ardent messengers, flying in air. Powerful creature, betray if you dare. Outside under trees, free on the run. Lycaeus the golden, the wolf's favorite son. Look carefully in the shining of day. Oracles whisper, see the wolf in his rays. Alright, so for the last poem that I'm presenting here, day 14, the prompt was favorite animal, and I chose wolf because wolves are my favorite animal. And I will tell you that this one bedeviled me because there are not a lot of wolves in Greek mythology outside of like the founding of Rome and some werewolf mythos, and I didn't want to write a poem about werewolves, surprisingly, but I did discover in my research a little unknown fact, to me at least, about Apollo's role as a wolf god and having a temple of worship there, and that the wolves would act as his messengers, and would like fly around and deliver messages from him and the oracle. So that was just a really interesting little bit of information that I didn't know. It's not a very commonly widespread aspect, so it might be just particular to the region of Lycaeus, which is named for Apollo. So, you know, like, that was a cool thing I learned doing this, and that's going to be it for me, guys. This was an acrostic poem, so the letters spell out Apollo, and I thought that was a little fun touch. But yeah, this is going to be me. I'm going to try to do another one of these quickly so that we don't run over the month of November, and I can get all my poems out here in time. But I've been enjoying seeing what you guys have made so far. It's been really fun. Some beautiful poetry has gone around, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to let me know what you want to hear more of in the comments below. And if you made it this far, I appreciate your face. Until next time, bye!